Okay, so I'm going to go through these adaptation questions that I set you for homework. So it says the drawing shows a section through a leaf from a tree with broad flat leaves. So let's have a look at the picture. So this is exactly as we'd expect as normal. Upper epidermis, wax cuticle on the top, palisade cells, spongy mesophyll cells with air spaces, lower epidermis with guard cells, and our stomata. The arrows show gas exchange. Give the names of 3 gases that are exchanged. Well, the 2 obvious ones are oxygen and carbon dioxide. And so the third one that we've got to remember is water vapour. And we have to have vapour there because if we put water, remember, is a liquid, so water vapour is a gas. So why do desert plants often have thick cuticles? Well, desert plants try and hold on to their water, so they have thick cuticles to reduce water loss. I could put there as well by evaporation. Okay, question C. Complete the table below to explain how the adaptations of a flat, broad leaf help photosynthesis. So palisade cells are packed with chloroplasts, so that means more chloroplasts allows more light energy to be trapped and used in photosynthesis. Okay, why do stomata open during the day? Well, that's a nice easy one. To allow CO2 in for photosynthesis. So I'm relating everything here to photosynthesis. So the leaf is very thin. Okay, so let's look at our leaf. We don't want a really fat, chunky leaf, because if we have that, then the carbon dioxide is not going to get up there. It's just going to be lost along the way or used by cells along the way. So we have to have a nice thin leaf to allow carbon dioxide to reach all the photosynthesizing cells. So CO2 doesn't have to diffuse. I was going to say travel then, but actually diffuse is a better word, far to reach photosynthesizing cells. Okay, spongy cells create air spaces inside the leaf. Well, again here, remember that most photosynthesizing is happening here in the palisade cells, and so we want the gases to be able to get there. If this was just packed tight with cells, the gases wouldn't be able to diffuse to get there. So it allows CO2 to diffuse and reach photosynthesizing palisade cells. Okay, part 2. Tree A has leaves that can be modelled as cuboids that measure 1 by 1 by 50. Cube B has leaves that can also be modelled as cuboids that measure 0.1 by 10 by 50. So I'm just going to draw those a minute, just so that I've got an understanding of what they're looking like. So cuboids, roughly, so that's 1, 1, 50. And this one, got much thinner end, so 0.1, 10, 50. There's my two, roughly my 2 leaves. So estimate the volume of each type of leaf. Okay, so the volume of A is going to be 1 times 1 times 50, which gives me 50 millimeters cubed. B is 0.1 times 10 times 50, which again gives me 50 millimeters cubed. Now be careful, remember this is cube because it is volume. We'll estimate the total surface area of each type of leaf. Okay, so let's do those. So for A, we've got two sides that are 1 by 1, added to two sides, if we do this side and the one opposite, it's 50 by 1, and we've got another two here, top and the bottom, again 50 by 1. Right, that gives me an answer of 220 millimetres squared, because it's surface area this time. Let's look at B, I should say B. So here we've got two sides which are 0.1 times 10, plus two sides which are 50 times 0.1, and two sides which are 50 times 10. Okay, and that gives me a value of 1012 millimetres squared. So even though these leaves have got exactly the same volume, this one has got a much smaller surface area than this one. So we're going to find these trees in areas where we're not going to want to lose water. So it's either going to be desert conditions or it's going to be Arctic conditions. So question part C, both leaves have the same number of stomata. Explain which tree is likely to live in the Arctic Circle. Well, it's going to be A. We've just worked that out. It's got a smaller surface area. So it's got smaller surface area than B, and I'm going to put there that the volumes are the same, so that means less water loss. And remember that you often think the Arctic is going to have lots of water, but remember the water there is frozen, and so plants, when they do manage to get hold of liquid water, they do want to hold on to it because it's really difficult for them to replace it because all the rest of the water around them is frozen.